We are not Sports Center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Gotti. My co-host over here is Doc Leesner, the podcasting beast, and we're ready to provide you with another fun edition of sports news, analysis, and the reads. Doc, WrestleMania is supposed to be in a few weeks, but we're not getting that. We're not going to get Kyrie Sane coming off the Buccaneers boat, but you got the next best thing. Your team signed Tom Brady, 6-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. The
Yes, we did.
insanity, the love, and apparently the huge love for the Buccaneers suddenly.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm feeling real, and I think we mentioned it last week, but I'm feeling real. We're moving on to Cincinnati-ish after this past week.
It's hilarious. You was the one who started talking about him possibly actually becoming a Buck.
Yeah, but that's okay. One day, yes, he signed as a Buck, right? Not turning one day into a whole week. Where I'm like, okay, we've signed him. He's done his physical. The doctor has flown to New York. It's great. He signed the paper, 2 years, $50 million for the guaranteed, no trade clause, no franchise clause. I get it. However, I want to know about the other people we're going to sign. If we can get past Tom Brady now, let's pick up some linemen. Let's re-sign some of these defensive pieces. Like, what are we doing? Yep. So I think the drawn out process made it kind of, a little unbearing, actually. But my gripe, I guess, is with people who loved Tom Brady. And yes, I'm talking about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Dang.
I love how once he left the Patriots and he's going to the Bucs, it's like, oh, they're getting a washed up quarterback. Now he's washed up. Now he can't throw the ball anymore. Oh, he's past his prime. Max Kettleman said he had to recant his statement. I think he said something along the lines of he was a bum or something. He said something crazy like that. Then he had to apologize real quick. But I just thought it was ridiculous. Like, the guy's been going to the playoffs. I know we talk about LeBron going to the playoffs 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Tom Brady's been to the playoffs. I don't even know how many times, and actually won the AFC, his division, his conference. He's won it several times.
Yes.
Into his 40s. So here's my thing about it, and then I'm going to get to another topic here, but people say Tom Brady can't throw the deep ball anymore. My thing is, in New England, Tom Brady, he wasn't. He was asked to throw screens, short, intermediate passes, maybe a middle pass every once in a while, and an occasional deep ball, which I thought when he did throw the deep ball, it was as accurate as ever, especially throwing the ball to Antonio Brown for the short stint that they were together. But other than that, he didn't have any burners down the field. Who was he throwing deep to? Nobody. He didn't need to throw deep. Let Tom live. Just because he wanted to leave the Patriots doesn't mean he's all of a sudden a loser. Like, that's so crazy to me. But speaking of losers, I don't like the way people are playing my man Jameis out.
Oh, we gonna talk about this?
Yes, we're gonna talk about this.
Because your boy has been feeling a certain type of way about this for the past few days.
Man. We're not gonna talk about that, but we're gonna talk about my man Jameis. So Jameis Winston, and I've said this, I've defended him, for the last month, 2 months. I've been quick to say, he's my quarterback until he's not my quarterback. And I'm sticking to it. So at this point, Jameis Winston is no longer my quarterback. However, that does not mean that I'm going to say that Jameis sucks, because I've gone on record and I'm going to stick to this in saying that Jameis Winston is the best and worst Bucs quarterback of all time. And that was the problem. And that's why we had to kind of move on, because it's one of those things where here we got a guy, that he has arm talent. He's been in the spotlight since he was 17. A lot of people don't remember him winning the Elite 11 competition. A lot of people don't remember him going to Florida State, starting as a freshman. All people want to remember him is stealing crab legs. Let me tell you something about crab legs. I went to the store a couple of weeks ago and got a discount on crab legs because somebody hooked me up. So it's like, I wouldn't put it past him that he legit thought he got hooked up with some crab legs. And then you got the whole Uber thing. So this is what people judge him by. They judge him based on things that he's done while he's in college, while he was a kid. Now he's grown. He's got, I don't know if he's married or I think he has a fiance, and I know he just had his first son. And it's like, here's a guy from Alabama who threw everything, made it to the NFL, played 5 years, had a rough start, 3 head coaches, about 3 different offensive coordinators, a shuffling offensive line, some great talent around them. There's no question about them. Their weapons for Winston campaign it was remarkable because they really did put some great people around him. The offensive line, although when I'm watching on TV, they didn't look top 10, but according to all these, stat guys, this offensive line is top, I think they're number 11 or 12 in blocking, which didn't translate to wins because I never felt like our running game was there.
Nope.
But behind Tom Brady, I believe this offense is going to move. I think the running game is going to move. It's going to create a ripple effect. And this is not to downplay what Jameis Winston was able to do. I really, really respect Jameis. I love what he did here, what he did in Tampa for the Bucs and the community. There's a lot of people don't talk about those good things that he did. People just want to talk about crab legs and, he raped people and touching people and stuff, which we don't know because we weren't there. I just don't like the fact that every time somebody mentions Jameis' name, it's always about turnover machine.
You really hate that line.
It's a stupid word. It's a stupid phrase. And we talked about this in the past. The only reason I hate it is because you're not watching the game.
Nope.
Like, if I looked at the stats, I'm looking at Jameis like, oh, he threw 5 interceptions. Okay, he threw 5 interceptions. We don't know which balls were tipped. We don't know which balls were, I've heard that the routes in Bruce Arians' system, it sounds crazy, but the quarterback doesn't even know what route the receiver is going to run until he runs it. It's kind of weird when you hear it out loud, but that there's so many nuances and so many different, variables when the receiver's running a route that anything could happen. Yeah. It's like everybody's running choice routes where it's like, you're running, you can do an end, you could do a post, or you could do a go, depending on what the corner and safety is doing. And it's like, you're a quarterback, you got 3-4 seconds to make a decision. Ugh. But we're saying that Tom Brady is going to be able to be better, which ultimately I think decision-wise, he probably will be. I'm not going to say what everybody else thinks, saying that, hey, we're going to be winning Super Bowls or anything like that. I learned from this guy on the other microphone not to spike the ball too early. But I do know the last time we brought in a veteran quarterback who could manage the game, and we had a top 10 defense, I think number 1 that year. But if we bring that same top 5 defense back, we have a good chance to at least be in the playoffs. And that's all a fan can ask for.
And I am highly inclined to agree with you. I think the Buccaneers could definitely make the playoffs. I felt like the hype towards the Buccaneers came out of left field completely because before this signing happened, no one talked about the Bucks. In fact, people were mocking the Bucks. So I'm the type of person that I'm going to look at what people say on TV, and over the radio today versus what they said, 2 weeks ago and a month ago and 6 months ago and, at the beginning of the football season. And unfortunately, everyone has been basically pulling a 180. For those out there who don't know, the only two people who haven't turned the 180 in regards to the Buccaneers and the way that they played, Doc and Prof. We haven't.
I mean, I'm just saying it. Like, here we are. We're looking at a guy who clearly wants to just play football. He loves the game. He just wants to play.
Yep.
And my thing is, based on the contract, which we talked about on the phone, he literally could have asked for 10 to 15 million more money. He could ask for more money.
Yes.
At least 15 million more dollars.
Probably.
But he said, no, let's do 2 years, 25, 26 million a year. Throw some incentives in there. Let's rebuild the team, and then they went out immediately and signed a new tackle.
Yes.
They re-signed some defensive guys that really helped out. Jameis was making 20 million, 22 million his last season. So all we did was give Tom Brady a $2 or $3 million raise from what Jameis was making.
Yeah, basically.
Which is what I wanted the entire time. I think if Jameis would have came in and said, and I don't know who released that, that article last season or who released that, statement from his camp, and maybe that's where the issue comes in. But once it came out that Jameis wanted $30 million,
that was it.
I think things went downhill from there. But it kind of stunk that Ryan Tannehill got paid. And that's where it kind of stunk, because it's like Ryan Tannehill didn't deserve to get paid.
No.
We know who deserved to get paid on that team, and that person did not get paid. And I stick to my locks hurt for next season.
No. Ryan Tannehill last year was number 1 in the NFL for yards per passing attempt, yards per passing completion, adjusted yards pass per attempt, net yards pass per attempt, and adjusted net yard passing attempts. I highly doubt. Oh, and passer rating as well too. But you're talking about a QB who barely throws the ball.
Right. And when my locks hurt sits out, then we're going to see if he's worth that money.
Yep.
Because I would sit out. I mean, between the coronavirus and my locks, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
Not for 10, $11 million. I'm not doing it. Can't do it. Can't play with him. Can't coach with him. Just can't do it. But, I mean, ultimately, I think the media, they continuously paint a story. And it kind of stunk. Like, my heart kind of went out to Jameis Winston because it was almost like it just dragged on for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And you got his teammates coming in, and they're like saying how excited they are, and you got Chris Godwin like, oh, it's going to be great to play with Tom. Like, nobody's dissing Jameis, but it's like it's going to be great to play with Tom. I can learn a lot from him. There's the whole conversation of who's going to wear number 12, and he's like, I got to give it up to the GOAT. If he wants it, I'm going to give it up to him. It's like, but then you have the other spectrum where people are just saying that Jameis Winston sucks, and that's the part that's really uncool.
Yeah, it is completely uncool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just had to get that out there because I felt like Tom Brady joining the Bucks. It is going to bring a lot of bandwagoners, which I don't really want. I don't need. We don't need bandwagoners. Um, it is going to bring a lot of players. Not as many players immediately as I thought, but I do know that some people may take this amount. I'm actually excited about people taking potential discounts to join the team, even if it's for 1 year. I'll take it.
It's feeling real Heatles right now.
It does. But the one thing I've noticed.
That's all I have to say there. It feels real Heatles.
But I mean, the only thing about it is, Tom Brady didn't co-inspire to say, hey, I'm going to take less money so that you can go out and trade for, Le'Veon Bell, and we're going to bring in Antonio Brown, and, like it didn't happen that way, at least not in the forefront of the media.
At least not as of right now.
But I mean, the Bucks are not interested in Antonio Brown, so which I don't blame them. And we don't even know if he's going to be able to play. So, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen next. I'm happy that the Bucks are taking the right steps in, putting offensive linemen around, that have some experience, because I know we usually go with a lot of inexperienced guys. And like they committed to, bringing the defense back.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
It's going to be an interesting season if we get a chance to actually watch the season.
Right.
I just had a problem with how quickly the note on the Buccaneers got switched because of the signing. Like I said, for me, that just bothered me because it wasn't just Jameis that they was getting on; they was getting on the whole team. Of course, Jameis was the forefront, but like now suddenly, and you mentioned Max Kellerman, I believe the day after the Tom Brady signing, which this podcasting beast over there, he didn't want to admit until Tom Brady actually signed on the contract. So,
that's what you taught me. I mean, that's what you taught me. That is what you taught me. That not to spike the ball. I'm not spiking any balls. I said, let me hold off. If he signs, great. If he doesn't.
For quick context, every single time I told this to Doc about something pertaining with sports, it turned out that I was completely right about it.
Well, typically it wasn't involving sports. It was completely off the realm of sports. But I mean, it still was relative to everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of spiking the ball again, the one part again that makes me feel bad for Jameis is that a report came out today that he wasn't even the second option, and that part kind of stings just a little bit because obviously it was Tom Brady, then it was actually Teddy Bridgewater, then it was Jameis Winston,
and then it was Jameis,
and I'm like, yikes, like that stinks, but at the end of the day, I mean, you get a chance to get a veteran like Tom Brady who's not only bringing in, his experience, but he's bringing in championship structure.
Yes.
And the one thing that I've always thought of, and this is something that I think every Bucs fan who they're feeling a bit, the one thing you have to keep in mind is that our defense is typically predicated by our offense because our offense, like our first team offense, when they go to practice against the first team defense, you want them to be pushed by somebody who's good. You know what I mean? So if you look at the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers, all those years, if you look at some of these teams, they have pretty good offenses. Offenses that can really, really get the job done. Now, occasionally you have teams that aren't good offensively but excel defensively. But now, typically, great defenses are on teams where offenses typically excel or at least have a quarterback that can push them to the limit.
Yes.
And I think with Tom Brady being on the team, it's going to help grow our secondary, which struggled last year. It's going to help grow our linemen. They're not going to have to worry about where Jameis is running, where Tom is running, because Tom's not running. You know what I mean? Where Jameis is running all over the place. Tom's going to be there. He's going to get rid of the ball quick. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
I agree. But, Doc, I don't know if you know this, though, but apparently last year the Buccaneers were top 5 in offense.
I can, like I said, top 5 in offense. I think we were top.
You were top
10
5.
in defense.
Yep, top 10 in defense, top 5 in offense.
And was it offense? Was it total offense or was it passing offense?
Total offense.
Total offense, and it most likely was because of the pass. Because, and that's what I'm saying. Jameis, literally, the best and worst quarterback at the same time.
But and I said that because you mentioned Max Kellerman, and he's like, yeah, I didn't even know that they were that good on offense last year. Yeah, because the only thing I kept focusing on was just turnovers.
Yeah,
that's all. Like that's all that you're talking about.
And people don't realize that we lost a lot of close games.
Yes,
a lot of close games. So
pretty much, I believe all but like maybe 2 losses last year were under 5 points, maybe even under 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's not act like this is something brand new. Like, this team was really, really good. Yeah, they could have easily, flipped the switch when it comes to their season. What they ended up with 7-9, they could have been 9-7.
But honestly, at the same time, the last 3 seasons, we've always been the team to watch out for, the team to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always been a lot of hype because. So it's only natural that this year would be the year that we would be slated to be contenders because we're going to have a quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over as much.
We shall see. We shall see.
That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have more debate amongst friends right after this.
You're listening to Debate Amongst Friends on Anchor FM. Anchor FM is a free and easy-to-use platform where you can record, edit, and post your show right from your phone or computer, and it will be automatically distributed to platforms such as Apple and Google Podcasts. As seasoned podcast personalities, we found Anchor FM to be user-friendly and resourceful, allowing us to create great shows and sound bites on the go. Last but not least, Anchor FM gives you an opportunity to monetize your podcast as they link you with potential sponsors, and you can potentially start making money by recording advertisements just like this. Kickstart your podcasting journey today with Anchor FM by visiting their website at www.anchor.fm, and we look forward to hearing your podcast. And we are back. Thanks for sticking with us as we continue our NFL coverage during this quarantine period. We have the top 101 NFL free agents of 2020. And this week, we're going to give you the first 25 just so we can keep you engaged with your team and what they are doing. Prof, in Dallas, where you are, is a guy who had a lot of promise coming into the league.
Yep.
But to me, he hasn't quite lived up to his potential yet. And that's Amari Cooper at number 1.
Yeah. A lot of controversy around him re-signing with the Cowboys for the contract he got, especially with the whole Dak Prescott saga happening. I'm interested to see if he'll live up to this particular contract. He's definitely been having a lot of injuries the past 2 seasons, last year especially. So I'm curious to see if the Cowboys are going to regret giving him 5 years, $100 million, but, wait and see.
$60 million guaranteed is
and
so
40 at
ridiculous.
signing.
So I guess that thing with that is that, of course, people know Dak didn't get paid, and just to make sure, Zeke got paid last season, right?
Yes.
That's a
Zeke
lot of
got
money.
paid after threatening to hold out, by the way.
He did hold out, and he was on vacation. I remember.
Yes. Also, as far as like actual games instead of preseason.
Oh yeah, I remember. So number 2, we have Jadeveon Clowney from the Seattle Seahawks, traded. I think it was mid-season from the Texans for an offensive lineman. Obviously, he's still out there. Pretty much, he's the number 1 free agent on the board right now. I don't know because he does have nagging injuries and he's not really a high sack guy. He's expecting high sack guy money though.
Yeah, Clowney's a curious case. When he's healthy, I mean, he's like top 5 as far as his position in the league. No one can really hold a candle to him. But like you mentioned, he's been having a lot of injuries issues, and the problem is just durability is really the issue. I would love to say I could see him, getting into the Buccaneers organization on a huge discount, but I think he might actually go to an NFC West team, and I'm saying he'll probably go to the 49ers, probably, because they just lost to DeForest Buckner.
They did. Actually, they made a trade, which was a good deal, by the way.
Very good
4th round pick. And I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know because they do have other players that, I'm sure they're looking in, and they have such an interesting system. So funny that you mentioned Tampa. Of course, I thought about it, but then I was like, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Gives like the most ridiculous discount ever.
But I think he might go to the 49ers because he, wants to go to a team that just made it to the Super Bowl last year.
If that's the case, he would probably try to get to the Chiefs. Or the Ravens. I can go to the Chiefs or Ravens.
Maybe the Ravens. He'll probably take a discount to go to the Ravens.
I can definitely see that. All right, so moving on here, we have Ryan Tannehill, which is very surprised that he's number 3. I think that's a little high, NFL.com.
First of all, cha-ching. 4 years, $118 million contract with $62 million guaranteed. Oh my gosh. Tennessee Titans. What?
For a guy who did not play the whole season.
For a guy who rolled the bench.
For Mariota.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, it's not like he's a bad player.
But the stats doesn't match.
I think that's a huge reach. I mean, I think they could have probably given him 75 or 80 million and it would have been just as fine. I don't think he needed 118 million.
No, they didn't need that at all. I feel like it's more of a sympathy contract too because he won Comeback Player of the Year as well.
Yeah, but just because he came back and he won Comeback Player of the Year don't mean you give him, starting franchise.
We've seen some boneheaded contracts.
Yeah, this is ungood. This is not good.
I mean, we're happy that he got his money, but we're not happy about the contract at all.
But I'm also upset because it diminishes from what Derrick Henry did and him not getting paid.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, not saying that Derrick Henry is going to get 118 million, but no. I mean, he got paid though.
No, but let's go to number 4. Go for it.
Aaron Jones, the defensive back, signing with the Dolphins from the Cowboys, which is very interesting because the Cowboys secondary already wasn't too good. But losing Jones, who was one of their better corners.
And that's a stretch.
It is a stretch. 5-year, $82 million contract. Interesting.
I don't know what to say there.
I mean, listen, people got to follow the bag, I guess. Follow the money. Jerry Jones, he had his eyes set on tagging Dak Prescott and signing Amari Cooper. So I mean, there was no money left, I guess, for somebody like Jones, because I'm pretty sure they have to sign one of those offensive linemen back eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't overpay in the long run for a defensive back, especially with a defense that has been struggling. I was actually surprised that they signed Sean Lee back, but I'm sure we'll get to that eventually.
Oh my! I can't even start with that. But number
So
5, we have Eric Armstead, defensive end of the 49ers, re-signing with the 49ers.
Which would make sense why they wouldn't bring in Clowney, because, I mean, Armstead's there. They still got Bosa. They still got D Ford, which, I mean, that's pretty. I mean, they could still bring in Clowney because I think Nick Bosa, I think these guys are all interchangeable. So they all can kind of move around. But I'm glad that they're keeping their guys intact, because I think that's the only way to repeat success.
I agree. I think keeping that nucleus is going to be very beneficial for them. We know the 49ers, if they have a pretty good core for the defense, they try to keep them together for a long time. And I really like the move. I can't really see anything negative about this.
Very true. Let's take a look here. Number 6, we have number 6 behind Tannehill. That's so crazy.
I know.
See. But 2 years, $50 million roughly is what they're saying. I guess they were saying if he didn't sign back, he pretty much would be done. But I'm kind of happy to hear that Drew's coming back. It's going to be an interesting season in the NFC South.
I think this is, of course, the last ride for him, but I could see him, like, he really wants to get that second Super Bowl. Like, he wants it so bad, and he only wants to do it with the Saints. And I can respect the heck out of him for wanting to do that. Because Absolutely. A lot of people still have, a bad taste in their mouth due to Bountygate. And he wants to be able to get it. And I think he also wants to help the Saints win and get beyond, the real 12th man, which are the referee crew.
Right, absolutely. They just cannot win because of things that are going on. Like, it's so crazy.
Yes.
But it is what it is here. So let's take a look here. Corey Littleton of the Rams. I'm not going to say St. Louis. I'm not going to say LA. I'm just going to say the Rams. He actually signed with the Raiders, 3-year contract worth $36 million, which seems pretty reasonable for a linebacker. I mean, that's a little better. It's a little better.
Yeah, it's around that range. I can't see anything wrong with that. I don't know if he's going to. Well, he's going to have to get a lot of burden. I mean, they're giving him $36 million, but. Right. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do because this is their first year playing in Sin City. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I'm going to be interested, and I'll keep an eye on Corey Littleton. I want to see how he's doing. I really want to see if, these.
7. Especially being number 7 on the list.
Exactly. I mean, these top 10 people, Doc and I are going to be looking at them and see if they play up to those contracts.
Absolutely. Obviously, number 8, we've gone over Tommy Brady going to the Bucs, 2 years, $50 million, fully guaranteed.
I still feel like they probably could have got him at like 45, but I'm fine with 50.
I don't think so. I mean, you say that, but how could he make less than Drew Brees? They're in competition every year.
Well, I mean, and when you said that, I totally agreed at that point, but. Yeah, I think before the Drew Brees deal, I was like, I feel like they could have probably got him for 45, but I'm okay with 50.
No, because even Phillip Rivers, who we're going to get into, but even he got the $25 million. So it's like, I think $25 million
is probably like the minimum.
The bare minimum, yeah. All right, so number 9, Jack Conklin, who I was kind of hoping would hit free agency because I would have loved for the Bucs to get Jack Conklin from the Browns, offensive tackle, 3-year, $42 million. The guy is a really, really good tackle, and I would have loved this. However, it did not happen as he signed back with the Browns, and that is okay.
Yes. Well, didn't he play for the Titans last year?
Conklin.
Yeah, he played for the Titans last year.
I'm sorry, they gave the money to Ryan Tannehill, and then they tagged Derrick Henry, and then from the Titans he went to the Browns, which is still pretty disappointing.
Yes,
disappointing. Up to the most disappointing.
But I mean, I love this move for the Browns. Obviously, one of the issues was the offensive line. Doc and I, highlighted that throughout all of last season. And we kept saying, why do they not, use the running attack that they have? Because the running attack is really good, and having someone like Conklin to be able to, be that lead block for those running backs is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Hopefully, they keep everybody together because I'm hearing inklings of Odell being traded. So we shall see.
We shall see. I'm not even.
That's what I said. Number 10 here, Philip Rivers, the aforementioned Philip Rivers, signing with the Colts, 1 year, $25 million, which, I mean, I'm okay with this. I felt like the Colts could have went in multiple directions. I mean, obviously, Jameis Winston comes to mind. Being that the Colts have a better offensive line, I felt that Jameis would have been better suited here. I feel like they could have potentially went out and got Cam or somebody else, but I think Philip is cool, I guess.
This is gut check time for Philip Rivers, folks. Because Doc and I both said, I think he might be done. This is his final chance. He needs to get that Peyton Manning, mojo and have an incredible season next year. If not, I mean, this is it. This is it.
Exactly. Staying with the Colts, they for number 11, they have also re-signed Anthony Castonzo, who I would have also taken him as well. 2-year, $33 million contract to remain in Indy. He's a really, really good offensive lineman as well.
Yes, definitely going to be great to help protect Philip Rivers. We just talked about how he's getting up there in age. I could see him, doing something great with the Buccaneers as well, Doc. I could definitely agree with you with that. And I really like the contract as well.
I think it's a good contract. It's really, really team friendly, and hopefully they benefits them. Number 12 here, we have Chris Harris Jr., the cornerback from the Denver Broncos, who signs with the Chargers, 2-year, $17 million deal, which is really, really good contract, with, of course, some incentives. But Chargers are getting a good defensive back at a relatively great price. Obviously, they're going to be looking for a quarterback, so they want to keep all their options open.
Yes. I'm going to be curious to see if the Chargers are going to try to get a quarterback in the draft. But as far as this particular contract, I agree with you. This is a really good contract for him.
And I mean, not to pull him down here, but I'm hearing more inklings that Tyrod Taylor is going to get the nod.
We both feel bad about Tyrod Taylor. We both like Tyrod Taylor. He just needs to be in the right system, unfortunately. That's kind of the name of the game now.
It's tough. But at number 13 here, a guy who, again, could be great, could be terrible, but it's Jameis Winston, the Bucs' former quarterback, gunslinger at heart, never scared to put the ball anywhere. Number 13.
We talked about him yesterday with the podcast, actually. We talked about how he might end up having to be a backup. And wouldn't it be ironic if he ends up being the backup to the reigning MVP?
That would be interesting. It would be interesting. Honestly, I'm just looking around the league at people who give those kind of chances. People like, again, I could see Jameis going to a Philly where you have a quarterback there that's never stayed healthy. I could see him going to Pittsburgh, where you got a quarterback there who's on his last leg. I feel like I could in some of these teams with young quarterbacks like the Jets, the Giants, the Redskins. Like I could see Jameis competing, but if Jameis wants to compete, he's gonna have to come off that price tag and just play the game.
I agree.
It sucks.
I agree. I mean, worst come to worst, he can always become a Bengal.
I said that he could.
Yes, he did.
He could be the Bengal quarterback for a year, or two while they groom, the next big thing.
Oh my god! Let's get to the next one.
Number 14, Dante Fowler signed with the Falcons. He's been around a little while. He's been around. But him signing with the Falcons, who really, really needed to increase their pass rush, 3-year deal, $48 million. I think that's a pretty good deal for Fowler. He's not a high sack guy.
No.
Obviously, when you're around Aaron Donald, you are going to
see an increase in your production.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think this is good for, he gets hurt or something. But let's go to number 15 here. DJ Reader joins the aforementioned Bengals, 4 years, $53 million. This is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal. Really, really good deal. The Bengals, that's a good start to their, to them, changing their culture. Obviously, they've had that long, drawn-out culture there for a long time. And I'm glad to hear that they're, changing it up. If they bring Jameis in, maybe, again, it'll be different for them.
Absolutely.
Patriots retained the service of Devin McCourty, at number 16 here. 2 years, $23 million. 17 guaranteed. I think that's good. He's still relatively young, 32 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's somebody who's been there with them, their championship runs. They're going to need that experience there. Now, losing Tom Brady and some other veterans. But I think this is a good price tag for Devin McCourty.
I agree with you. I think, now if they want locker room leaders, he can definitely step up and take that mantle. Of course, no one's going to be on the same level as Tom Brady, but I think, mixing it up and, you still have Bill Belichick back there as well, too. I think this is pretty good. I like it.
Absolutely. All right, number 17, we have Javon Hargrove, who's a nose tackle here, signed with the Eagles, 3 years, $39 million. I just think the Eagles, since their Super Bowl run, I don't know how much longer they can commit to their quarterback. And that's the only reason I mentioned, because he just can't get right.
Nope.
So, this is a good deal, 3 years, $39 million, but, I just don't even know. Like, if any other deals matter. It's really just their quarterback.
Yeah. I like it. They just have to have more consistency on the offensive end. Honestly.
Yeah,
that's really what the issue is.
That's damn true. Damn true. So, number 18. I'm not gonna skip my boy. I'm not gonna skip my man JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul. Signed a 2-year, $27 million with the Bucs. Him on point with a high productive guy.
Mm-hmm.
A good leader in the locker room, despite the fireworks and the car accidents and whatnot. He's still able to come and play at a high level, and I appreciate that about him. The fact that he had 8.5 sacks last season and he missed most of the season was pretty impressive. So I don't blame them for picking him back up.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a resurgence. once again, I mean, everyone has such high hopes for now people are starting to coin the phrase the new Patriots for some reason.
Wow, not
Yeah,
the new
people be
Patriots.
saying some. This is because of the media, bro. I keep telling you this.
I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard
Yeah,
that
I've
one.
heard
Thank
that.
God.
I saw that one. Yeah, it was out there.
So,
But I do like it. I think this is definitely more towards that home talent discount as well too. Like I said, he just gotta just not do ridiculous stuff throwing away from the field. Honestly.
facts, facts. Now, this next one I felt was blown way out of proportion.
All right.
I wasn't really feeling this one too much, just the way the media was reporting it. Uh, I mean, he was okay. He signed a 4-year, $42 million contract with the Browns, who I thought had a pretty solid tight end group already. Thought they overpaid for this.
They definitely overpaid for this.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, when you have Julio Jones and you have what's his name? I can't even think of his name. The young receiver there in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You're not drawing attention. So don't get me wrong. I think with the Browns, they have two solid receivers on the outside. It might work, but I thought this was an overpayment that they didn't need.
Of course it was. It was put way out of proportion. And the person's name is Calvin Ridley, by the way. This was taken way out of proportion. I feel like this is such a massively inflated contract. Like this might be one that the Browns might actually regret, in my opinion.
I think they will. It's really, really sad. So let's see here. Another guy not signed just yet, Vonn Bell, safety. And he is a run support guy. I want to say he was with the Jets, if I'm not mistaken. Can you confirm that?
I will confirm that.
I want to say he was with the Jets, but I could be wrong.
He was with the Saints.
Saints. That's exactly who he was. Okay, which I'm pretty surprised that they're. Well, I know that they signed Melvin. Is it Melvin Jenkins? Malcolm Jenkins back.
Yes.
So that's probably why they let Bell go. He's 25-year-old. Maybe they're trying to get away from everyone who, is associated with the last 2 years.
Oh
no! Maybe they think those guys give bad juju or something.
I can't blame them, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe they're like, maybe it's time to just get rid of these guys. We don't, pass interferences and missed tackles. And, what the heck is going on, But number 21, Melvin Gordon, moving on from the Chargers after a disgruntled year or two there, signing with the Broncos, 2 years, $16 million, which is very, very, very good deal. Very low. A good team-friendly deal, which is why,
you know what? It's not low because he really doesn't have the numbers, unfortunately.
Well, that's because they started giving the ball to Ekeler.
Yes.
I mean, which I don't blame them for getting the ball to Ekeler, but, $8 million is pretty good. It's slightly below the franchise tag and the transition tag. So I think that's a pretty good deal for him. And I think it's 2 years, so he'll have a chance to kind of prove his worth in his next contract.
I agree.
Now, one person I'm really surprised that he hasn't re-signed yet, and I assume he's going to get paid. Robbie Anderson of the Jets, probably one of the only guys that had who I actually know is actually on the Jets. None of the Jets receivers play well because their quarterback play has been suspect. Their wide receivers have been struggling because of it. You got offensive linemen in and out. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Jameson for a look because it just would make sense. But I'm surprised he's still out there.
Give it some time. I mean, it's still pretty early in the free agency period to give it some time. I don't think he's going to get. Yeah, I think so too. He's probably not going to get as much money as he's hoping because of those aforementioned points that you mentioned. But
I
don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
Number 23, Everson Griffin is someone that I would love to have in Tampa. I think his production is always high. He has a high motor. I like him. If he does not go to the Vikings, I think any team that signs Griffin will be getting a great edge rusher, great defensive end. But right now he is unsigned.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't try to snatch him back up. I'm cautiously optimistic that he might end up as a Buccaneer.
Cautiously optimistic. Yeah.
Cautiously optimistic because you still have a lot of cap to sign some more people, and someone like Griffin can definitely help out. What is a excellent defensive front.
I'm looking forward to it. Number 24, James Bradbury signs a deal with the Giants, 3 years, $45 million. Obviously, the Giants had some struggles on both sides of the ball. I know they let go of a defensive back, at the end of the season. We won't even say any names. We won't even go into that story because that whole thing was ridiculous.
Weird.
But yeah, that's why I said let's not even go into it. But Bradbury is somebody who was a bright spot for the Panthers. I'm surprised they let him go, but he was one of Ron's guys, so maybe they decided to just let him walk. But he was one of their better corners for quite some time.
Absolutely. And what I was reading about him was the Panthers were actually looking to try to franchise him to keep him away from going with Ron Rivera up to Washington, D.C. So I'm curious that it went from a potential franchise tag to him joining the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And last, which may take away or may have taken away from Everson Griffin being signed, is Robert Quinn signing with the Bears. This could have been an easy fit for Griffin, but 5 years, $70 million, which I think that's pretty good for Robert Quinn. He's been around, I would say rushing the quarterback for quite some time now. Obviously, he was in Dallas where, I don't think hardly anybody was sacking anybody in Dallas last season.
Wait, they was playing defense in Dallas?
Yeah, he was in Dallas. Yeah, exactly. Were they playing defense? I don't even know.
No, it was a rhetorical question.
And rhetorical questions to me deserve answers. And the answer is no. But he's signed with the Bears, even though he had injuries in the past. They gave him 5 years, $70 million. So obviously they still see something left in the tank. But that's your top 25 for this week. Make sure you join us next week for the following 25. But also stick around. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more Debate Amongst Friends. And we are back once again with one of our final subjects here, new faces in different places outside of the free agent list that we went over. We have some people who were traded, who were picked up from different areas and different leagues. And we're going to start with Riverboat Ron making a deal to get his old quarterback. I'm not talking about Cam Newton. I'm talking about Kyle Allen. Riverboat Ron said, I want Kyle. Give me the righty.
He wants the righty. The Kyle thing.
You make my fantasy sing.
Show it your blindfold. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's him. Crank it, Jerry.
So the Redskins have traded for Kyle Allen. Ian Rappaport. Kyle thing. Ian Rappaport says, so this is so disrespectful because I think Kyle Allen was a pretty reasonably experienced quarterback. I think he was picked. I don't think he was picked this late. I feel like he was picked a little higher than this. But the Redskins sent a 5th-round pick for exchange for Allen, who started at quarterback. I just don't even know what the heck. I mean, 24 years old, he started 12 games, 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions.
Yep.
The thing that sticks out the most, he took 46 sacks, which, to me, if anything's telling, it just means that you have to protect him. Obviously, he can light it up when he's on his feet.
Yes.
That's all I could say. But right now, we're looking at 2 second-year, third-year quarterbacks in the building for Washington. I'm wondering, if this is a move to kind of put the pressure on Dwayne Haskins, or are they just, looking to see, hey, maybe Allen can compete for this job? We'll have to wait and see.
I think I'm 100% with you on that one. This one's a weird one.
It is. 5th-round pick. I mean, it's really crazy.
All I gotta say is
Cal
Thing. Dun, dun, dun.
The one thing people don't talk about anymore?
What's that?
Alex Smith, who's still on the Redskins roster. You want to talk about comeback players? If Alex Smith was to come back to the Redskins,
I think they'll probably, I don't know, because it's going to be interesting. I would rather have him start, but it all depends on what Ron Rivera wants to do. And he's familiar with Kyle Allen, which is why, he got the trade done to get him into his team.
This is true.
So this is weird. I think we're going to need some more context as this all develops.
Absolutely. Now, Kyle Allen was traded on the same day that the Panthers announced the signing of P.J. Walker. That's right, that P.J. Walker from the Houston Roughnecks. Of what league, Professor? What league is the Houston Roughnecks a part of?
The XFL.
P.J. Walker led the league with 15 touchdowns and 1,338 yards. And I mean, the undefeated Roughnecks, by the way. So I'm wondering, you signed Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting Cam Newton on the trading block. And then you bring in P.J. Walker. Could you imagine if P.J. Walker outshined Teddy Bridgewater?
That'll make Teddy Bridgewater look really, really bad. I think he looked really good.
Really bad. But I mean, honestly, I'm really surprised that nobody decided to take a shot at PJ Walker. Like, if the Chargers say, okay, we're going to put PJ Walker against Tyrod Taylor and see who wins it out, I would have liked that battle.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That would have been perfect. But I like this subtle move by Matt Rule, changing the culture there. We don't want Cam anymore. Cam is for losers,
wow.
He said. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Clickbait.
Okay. That is clickbait. That is exactly what that is. But who else is out there changing jerseys? Todd Gurley has changed jerseys within the last week. Not surprised. Not too many people. How did you feel when that popped up on your screen, or your phone screen, or computer screen, wherever it popped up first?
Oh, a piece of candy. Oh wait, Todd Gurley left. He signed with who? Oh. Okay. Because it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. With his tenure with the Los Angeles Rams. That's how I feel about it.
I do think it's and this is one of your words, apropos, that he returns to Georgia, where he played college football, and we all remember Todd Gurley hurting his leg, at Georgia, which questionable concerns came out at that time. So for him to be getting cut due to injuries is still, I mean, you knew what you were getting when you drafted him, but he's never stopped working. He's a big guy. I mean, 6'1". I didn't realize he was 6'1", but 6'1", 220, 230 pounds, running with a lot of force. Obviously, the writing was on the wall, even when they weren't using him effectively in the Super Bowl at that time. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. But that's just another Falcon that we'll have to try and maintain or contain season, as you mentioned. But they released him. Obviously, he's a cap casualty, and he signed with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Another XFLer, which is pretty interesting. I expect there to be more. I really do. I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens as we move on. But you mentioned that Derek Nichols has signed with a team.
Yes. Cornerback. I don't remember the team. Oh, he's also from the Roughnecks, actually.
Yes, he is from the Roughnecks. He signed with the Saints, actually. He did sign with the Saints. So, again, another NFC South team making strides. It's like NFC South is just like, maybe, is this the Brady effect? Like, everybody's just signing people just to, like, what is going on in the NFC South? Everybody's just signing people now.
They're gearing up for a war.
And again, the Roughnecks were undefeated. They had a pretty solid team. So it wouldn't be right for them not to go for the best team. It's almost like drafting from, your Alabamas, your Auburn, those.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, These are guys that you got a chance to watch 5 games. So, okay, if we get a chance, I want that guy.
Pretty much. I mean, they're sitting there just celebrating on the field, and you're sitting there in the stands like, I'm going to sign him.
Once I get a chance.
Once there's the chance, I'm going to sign him.
Yeah, so. And then lastly, in another shocking chain of events, this one, I know we talked about it at the end of the season, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think it was happening because he is still one of the best corners in in NFL. Darius Slay, formerly of the Detroit Lions, was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't like this for the Lions. Obviously, I feel like this is going to put them further into limbo. Yeah, and mediocrity. But it's a really big win for the Eagles.
It's a huge win for the Eagles. The writing was on the wall because Matt Patricia, I don't know what's up with Matt Patricia.
I'm not sure either.
Maybe it's the fact that he never, talked because of Belichick. Maybe. Now that he's free, he's just acting a dang. I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, here's the thing. The problem with the Eagles is that I think, and this is something I would watch out for, I wouldn't be surprised if the Matthew Stafford era is over. I think they just need to move on. That's the person that they need to move on from. Matthew Stafford, clear that cap, bring in somebody else to groom. I mean, dare I say,
Jameis
Winston? Jameis Winston in Detroit would be crazy.
Jameis Winston going up against Aaron Rodgers 2 times a year. I'd watch that game.
Yeah, I would too. Going against either, what's his name? Oh my God.
What's his name?
Going against the Bears, Trubisky? Jameis versus Trubisky?
Really? Really?
You don't want to see James versus Trubisky?
That's gonna be like, I'd rather watch paint dry.
Oh my god, paint drying is very exciting these days, apparently. But I don't know. I just think that the Lions need to start over. I don't know what it is. They get these high caliber players. You have, your Dominican Sues, you have your Calvin Johnsons. Everybody's just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know when the last time I saw Matthew Stafford play. Did he play last season?
Yes, but he got hurt.
It just seems like it's time, man. Like it's time. Release the Stafford.
I don't know. I am highly inclined to agree with you too. I feel like this is at a point to where everything is pointing back to the QB, and that might be the reason why they're not hitting the certain plateau that they set for themselves.
Don't be surprised, and I know I've said this, and then we're going to move on to the 2-minute drill after this, but don't be surprised if the New England Patriots make a call to the Detroit Lions about Matthew Stafford.
I can see that. Okay.
That would be crazy, but I could see it. But that's just reads. I've also said Andrew Luck's going to get a call, so we'll just see what happens.
Yes.
But stand by, and we're going to be back with that 2-minute drill.
Wait, we have one more. We do have one more. And make sure that we don't skip it. DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals.
You know something? That one, it was so controversial, and we really could have started the show with that trade as well. I know we started with Tom Brady, but there was so much ridiculous stuff going on regarding the reason and rationale behind the trade. I just thought it was stupid.
It was stupid.
Oh, and I mean, now that you mention it, we forgot about Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Stephon Diggs. I think it's because the network kind of capped off the dates. So we were going based on like this week, and it kind of capped off the dates. But
yes, well, it happened like immediately after last episode.
It did. But Stephon Diggs being traded again, from the Vikings, needing a new, I guess, a change of scenery, but I don't know. I think with Hopkins, that's just a weird one. I don't care what's happening. I'm not trading my best player away because of whatever was going on. Now, if it's because of money, then just say it's because of money. Don't make something. No, I'm not trying to hear.
They're not going to say it. They're not going to say it though.
But you'd rather hear because he's bringing his baby mothers into the locker room?
No.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather just say, hey, if you don't want to pay him, just say, hey, Cap, we ain't want to pay him. Don't give me any. He's bringing too many baby mamas in the locker room. Anybody trying to hear that?
I see what you did there.
No one.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
But I also do like Stephon Diggs to the Bills. Also, I think that gives them the weapon that Allen needed to actually win that playoff game.
I was thinking that after I saw this, and I'm so glad that you reminded us about the Stephon Diggs one. But I feel like he might be that missing piece.
Definitely, and we'll see. The draft is still next month.
Yep.
So even though nobody's going to be there, it'll still be on TV. Thank goodness we'll have something to watch.
Oh
that'll be
God,
live.
I am so tired.
Yeah.
Of some of these basketball. When they showed the Rockets against the Trailblazers in that Game 7 dagger, I knew that they were trying to troll us.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh yeah. But stick around. We'll be right back with the 2-minute drill. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of every show, we like to do something called the 2-minute drill, where we go over news stories and coverage items that we didn't get a chance to go over during the show. My first one here is that Houston Rockets forward PJ Tucker says he's going to open up his own sneaker store. We all know that PJ is a sneaker guru, and he has reportedly over 1,000 pairs of shoes. Prof?
Longtime kicker Stephen Gostkowski is being released by the New England Patriots. Back to you, Doc.
And new beginnings in LA as the Rams begin a new chapter with a new logo. You can find that logo on Twitter on the Los Angeles Rams site. I'm sure they probably have it on Instagram as well. To me, it looks like LA Fitness, but that's just my opinion. Stand by, of course, for more Debate Amongst Friends. We're going to keep trying to give you content through this coronavirus quarantine period. We'll be back next week. You're hearing this on Wednesday. Be sure to like our social media platforms, and we look forward to debating next week.
The Kyle thing!
Give me Vaughn!
You mean Rick Vaughn?
Yeah. He's pitching to Beck, not Parkman.
He wants the righty! The vile thing! The grab your throat and choke thing!
Blow it out your ass, lard mouth.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my God, it's him. Crank it, Jerry.
Oh no! Not that goddamn song again! The bad seed is back! It's Wild Thing!
Nice look. Welcome back, Vaughn.
Good to be back.
Okay, now, Beck likes him on the outer half, so jam him.
I want Parkman.
Well, Parkman's out up. Beck's the hitter.
I'll walk him.
And load the bases for Parkman? What are you, nuts?
I want Parkman.
All right. Go get him, Rick.
Hey, when the tough get going, go and get tough.
Okay, Ricky, baby! Time for some serious cheese! The Rockford Rocket! The Brie Bullet! The Parmesan Pellet! Yeah!
Thank you for listening to Debate Amongst Friends. Give us a follow on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can also listen to all of our Debate Amongst Friends podcasts here on Anchor, as well as Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iTunes.
And like we always say, goodbye, mwah, and to all, a good night. LASG. Peace, Piyush.
Yay!